Hello everybody and welcome. It is currently 5:30 in the morning and I was woken up at 3 a.m. by police sirens. So I'm just kind of leaning into my Chaos Goblin ways and we're just going to kind of launch right into things. Typically I have this whole huge intro that, I introduce myself and, all that fun stuff. But hi, I'm Vamp. This is pretty much how YouTube is going to be at this point. I'm doing away with the crazy intros and stuff like that, and you're just getting unfiltered Chaos Goblin energy. So leading into my Chaos Goblin ways, I am going to start talking about the Restorative Artfest that I did on October 4th. This was an event in my town that was benefiting the Habitat for Humanity. The idea was to grab a piece of furniture or something from the Restore, which is a thrift store that is run by them, and refurbish it, turn it into artwork somehow, and then the event on the 4th was a 5.5-hour event, and we did our artwork. You could start it whenever, but we had to finish it live during the event. And people did silent auction throughout. So they would write their name next to an amount, and then they would, the money went to Habitat for Humanity. It was a really awesome event, but true to my Chaos Goblin ways, I have a bunch of stuff that details leading up to it, and then I did not get any actual footage of the event itself aside from a couple of pictures and some pictures of the finished tables. So I kind of want to go through, talk about it, show some of the snippets that I recorded for the vlog, and then just kind of show the end result. So I hope that this is something you guys enjoy, aside, I am exhausted. We have been working on backer kit things, and I have a market at the end of the week. So I'm kind of scatterbrained, but I hope that you guys enjoy this new format instead of me being a little bit stiffer and more in this kind of scripted, professional mode. I just kind of want to put that aside. I just want to be me with you guys. So let's launch into this event. I hope that you enjoy watching. So one of the coolest things about the approach to this project is that I didn't actually know what we were going to be doing until we went shopping. So I found these awesome tables. Originally I was looking at dressers, and then I realized it would be hard to move those around. So I went with these tables. They were the perfect size, and I had an idea already kind of half formed in my head that I needed to sketch. Hello everybody. We are working on the Restore project today. My husband is thankfully here and helping. Ledge, say hi to YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
So, I did a short about this a couple of days ago, but I wanted to show our starting point. So let me switch my camera around here. We bought this set of tables for the Restorative Art event. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand them down, get rid of this awful water damaged kind of veneer that it has, and then I'm going to paint them with a base color and have a sketch on the top. I'll show my sketch once I have it finished, and then I'll show some parts of the process. I think that it will be a lot of fun to kind of take you on this journey. So this is the tops after sanding with an 80 grit. We're about to hit it with 150 grit with the sander. The 80 grit, unfortunately, were quarter sheets, so we weren't able to use the auto sander with it, so we just did this by hand. The whole tables are going to wind up being like that, but
they look really nice, and we should be able to get a nice solid coat of paint on these. I'm really excited to get started on priming this.
Working on the restorative art project here, so I was thinking of doing something that was tarot coded a little bit, but I was thinking like, okay, that's a little bit vague. So I was thinking about like what tarot means to me. It is strengths, it is beauty, it is getting in touch with yourself, getting in touch with your inner intuition, because really, like, the cards do have some meanings to them, but in part it is going by your intuition and how you interpret those meanings for the question that you are asking. So I was thinking about the fact that intuition has nothing to do with how you look. It's not the physical, it's the interior. So let me switch over to my sketch so I can kind of show you what I am looking at. So I was thinking about, and forgive me how rough this is, I want to actually do a time lapse showing the sketch process and stuff. I'm going to leave it pretty rough on the computer because I'm going to be working on these on the actual tables, but it's easier for me to sketch quickly when I am on the PC. So here we go with the sketch. This one here is going to be a sun motif on the armor plate. This one's going to be a moon motif on the armor plate. I'm going to add some filigree and some nice little details with that and get that all designed. These circles here are kind of crossing over on each table to tie them in. I might have them actually come up like this on the corners where they touch, so that it kind of feels like it comes together in that way. But I'm thinking roses, I'm thinking ornate filigree, I'm thinking lots of line work like my standard line artwork is, and then I'll probably get the main outlines finished before the actual event happens, so that I can just focus on the detail and it will be finished without being finished. No matter where I stop on the detail, it will be finished and ready for whoever buys it. So that is really exciting. I cannot wait to get this to actually come together and have this all designed. So on this table too, this left table, this will be a white background as well, and this one will be black. So we'll see how that goes.
I am about halfway done with one table in terms of sanding. And I've hit the point where I wish that it would just stand its damn self. So this table has not been touched. You can see that I've been working out here for a while, judging from the mess. There's sawdust everywhere. I'm about halfway done with sanding this down, and I'm about to the point where I wish that it would just sand itself. But they're starting to look really nice. That's going to take the paint really well, and I'm pretty pleased with how this project is coming along.
I actually have a degenerative issue with my shoulders that makes it hard to do repetitive movements. So this was actually a really hard process, the sanding process, but eventually we got it done, and I am really just grateful to my husband for helping so much with that. He did one of the tabletops and most of the legs by himself. I only had to do the sides of one table and the tabletop and two legs of the other. So thank you again, Ledge, for helping with that. Now what I'm doing here is I am actually designing the faceplates that I mentioned earlier. and I am just kind of noodling. I skipped some of the iteration process here just to keep the video on the shorter side. But you can see I'm kind of playing with flourishes and doing some, ornate work. I wanted this to be really detailed and very feminine in nature, something that felt like nurturing instead of aggressive. There's a lot that's going on in the world that makes life in general just kind of feel like it is very difficult right now, and there's a need for collective rest, but also there's strength in still going as if things are not happening, or still going despite the things that are happening. So I wanted something that was a rest but not a defeat. So, the Sun card is a very positive card that's like overcoming challenges and being in the light and all of that fun stuff. And the Moon is intuition, subversion. It can hint towards being controlled by outside forces, those kind of things. So that's where the tarot elements come in. These characters they can be lined up on the long sides, either opposing forces or joining forces. So it's a really fun design that goes, now is the time for rest, but the battle will be there later. I will be strong enough for the battle later. And I think there's a very positive message in something like that. So I think I am going to let some music fade up and then just let it go through the sketch for you all. This was about 4 hours so far over the course of 3 days. I was taking it piecemeal because I was also working on the backer kit release. But at this point, I knew that I was no longer going to be doing the second table black, and I decided to be a little bit more discerning with the roses and stuff like that. So at this point, this was the finished sketch, and the project was starting to really come together in my mind. I was really excited to get started with the actual painting process.
So we got the sanding completely finished, and now we are working on painting the tabletops. The tabletops are one coat in. We're going to let these dry, take about an hour to do that, and then do a second coat. And then we're going to go with our darker color. It's my lovely husband assisting me with painting all the legs.
We rolling.
So far, we're looking pretty good. It looks like this might actually only need one coat for this darker color, which I'm excited about. Yeah. We've got one of the designs. You can see the paper back here. One of the designs is ready to transfer over to one of the tables once they are dry. And then I need to finish the other design and get it printed out and transfer it to the other table. So this has been a really fun project, and I'm hoping that it comes out the way that I'm envisioning it. So, okay, it is September 30th, which means that we are going to be doing the Restore project on Saturday. So I'm starting to get further into the painting process. It's really early in the morning, so the cats are hanging out with me. But I'm going to preface this with ignore the mess. You can see the table legs behind me here. These are all dry and ready to paint on. The tabletops are over on my work table, and I'm going to be transferring the design on one of the tabletops today. I have one other design to print out for the second tabletop and transfer that, but we're going to be focusing on the first table. Before I do that, I'm going to wind up printing the design for the second table tomorrow. So I'm going to switch over and let's start that. And so now we're back to the voiceover. So what you can see me doing here is I have a bone folder in my hand, and on the other side of this piece of paper, we traced the design to put some graphite on the back, and I am just transferring that design over to the tabletop. This is a pretty quick process. And at this point, the project was really starting to come together. You can see here that I am using Posca pens, which are acrylic paint markers. Because of the degenerative issues that I have in my shoulders, I have a permanent shake in my left hand. So I prefer to use markers over brushes because then you see less of that shake in the final artwork. So this is just me going over the lines that I just transferred off of that piece of paper. And I don't have all the footage of this, unfortunately. I forgot to record the second half of this table. So this is about the end of what the lead up to the event is, but I will show some pictures from the event, show you guys the final tables, and give my final thoughts as I am kind of going through the process here. So this was a really fun project, and honestly, by the time I finished the tables, I kind of wanted to keep them, but it was a good feeling to be able to do something that would give back to my community, especially to help people in need, like how Habitat for Humanity does. So, I was really proud of this piece, and they did wind up selling as a set. The event organizer actually bought them. So that was a really good feeling. I got a lot of compliments on the table as I was working on them through the event. There were some amazing people who were involved. Somebody did a woodwork piece, wood burning on top of a chest. Someone made this awesome door that was full of
like cyberpunk details and stuff like that. There was a large different array of artists. There were fiber artists. There were people who actually like rebuilt things that they were working on during the event. Really cool stuff. So this is something that I would probably do again in the future. If I did do it again, I would probably have a little bit more of an idea of what I wanted to do going into it. But aside from that, like I really think that this came out well, and I want to do more stuff like this. I want to do more furniture. The problem with stuff that is physical like this, and why I tend to do a lot more digital work, is that I don't have the storage to, hold this stuff if it doesn't wind up selling. So we're coming up to the end of the footage, so let me just quick get some pictures going. This was one of my stopping points. I made sure to take pictures at the very least since I wasn't recording. And then this was my second stopping point. You'll see the finished one in just a second here. And then I did a 5-hour marathon getting the main outlines of this one done. And then the next step was to clear coat the standard pieces, the legs, and make sure that the paint was protected. So this is ledge spray painting while I record for you guys, and we're just double checking to make sure that it doesn't mess with the paint on the inside of a leg. And then the next bit that we did was get ready to go to the actual event. So when we went to the event, it was, like I said, a 5.5-hour event. It was really, really windy, but it was a lot of fun and we had a good time. I'm really proud of what I made, and here is the result with the final tables. In this configuration, I called them Reunion, since they're facing each other. And in the other configuration, I called them Opposition, since they're facing away from each other. But you can see that the tables match up on the long sides. So, would I do something like this again? Probably. I would give a final thoughts section, but I've kind of already given all of my thoughts throughout the vlog. So, I thought that this was a really great event, and I got to meet a lot of cool artists, I got to see a lot of cool stuff, and a lot of people are just so passionate about what they're doing. So, it's really cool to see when people are making awesome stuff. And will I work on furniture again? I don't know. If I do this again, maybe. If I get an interest or somebody custom commissions a piece, maybe. But for now, I think I'm going to stick to my digital art and my tarot designs and things like that, largely just because of space issues. Another thing to note is that, like I mentioned at the beginning, backer kit books are here. Lemon Balm is going to be out in a week. Oh my goodness. If you like my work and would like to support what I do, then Patreon is available. I also have Coffee, Substack, things like that. Anywhere that you can kind of support will be linked in the description below. I have a merch shop. And speaking of merch, I have been talking about Lemon Balm a lot on the channel. The physical copies have come in. So this is the hardcover, and then I have the soft cover, and this one's actually a signed copy. So we have signed copies available. The artwork has come out absolutely gorgeous. I could not be happier with these books. But if two non-binary disasters going up against an unjust governmental system sounds like your jam, consider looking at the books. For now, I'm going to leave you, and I'll likely have some footage of Charlie being insane going at the end of the video. So thank you for watching and sticking with me this long, and I hope that you have a lovely, lovely day. Charlie! Charlie, come here. What are you doing? Okay, come here. Come here, crazy gremlin. Would you stop? What are you doing? Extra work? Why do you have to do this when I'm filming? Why? Oh my goodness. Hi. Energy? Retaliatory licking? Amazing. Hey. Come on. Chill.